I had never made a call to Diddy, really?
Diddy had ties everywhere. Politicians, billionaires, superstars, rap legends, and even 50 Cent once stood shoulder to shoulder with him before their roads split and the rivalry locked in for good. But in that whole universe, there was one artist who kept his distance like it was policy. One star who wanted nothing to do with Diddy World. Not in the 90s, not in the 2000s, not ever. Eminem. That R-A-P-P-E-R flip people debate today hits hard because of the double meaning.
P-E-R got so many essays. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P.
But here's the point that matters. By the time M leaned into that wordplay, he'd already been needling Diddy for years with layered jabs and name drops across tracks and moments. This wasn't random smoke, it was a steady pattern. Back when Marshall was just trying to get on, Diddy was already the power broker of hip-hop with Bad Boy Records, the glossy dream label for most new artists. But not for M, who wanted the exact opposite lane. Aftermath, Dr. Dre, and the surgical studio grind that would rewrite the genre's sound in real time. Even as a relative unknown, M had already tossed a sly early shot in 1996 on an underground cut, signaling he wasn't scared of industry kings or their armor. It was a quick flare in a crowded sky. But if you were paying attention, you knew he was willing to poke the biggest bears on the block. At the same time, M's orbit brushed against another industry giant, Suge Knight, the feared boss of Death Row Records, a figure people described as the boogeyman of the business for years. The stories around him were built on intimidation legends and cold-blooded reputation. But that didn't make M blink for a second. One infamous moment sealed it. Suge pulled up with a heavy entourage during the Inda Club video shoot, and the vibe got tense fast as folks clocked the presence and the posture. Witnesses said it felt like a pressure test on set, the type of pull-up that usually makes people duck. But M stepped right outside, face to face, and didn't budge an inch. People who were there swear that's when they clocked M as for real, not just a studio tough guy with punchlines. The way the story's told, the tension eased. Suge's side stood down, and the moment passed with everybody exhaling at once. But the message was clear to anyone watching. Eminem wasn't hiding behind anyone's shadow or security. Later, M even recorded a diss aimed at Suge that never officially dropped because Dre asked him to leave that battle off the books. Not your beef, as the lore goes. Years later, a leaked version floated online and, yeah, it was vicious. And that just reinforced the bigger picture fans already knew.
Bad boy on the case, covered your face, came into place, blowed and sprayed coffee with mace.
If Marshall was willing to stand firm in front of Suge, why would he fear Diddy? A power player, yes, but a different kind of threat in a different arena entirely. And that question sits under everything that followed. By 2000, the tension had texture. Not a frontline war, but a steady drip of lines and moments that showed M kept Diddy right in his peripheral vision. On the Marshall Mathers LP, he let a few darts fly, some light, some sharp, including a bar that played on Puff's name and another that referenced Diddy's then-girlfriend, which swung dark with shock humor that made headlines back then. Diddy never publicly fired back, at least not in direct lyrics, and the two megastars mostly moved in separate lanes, one tearing up charts under Dre's tight studio approach, the other flipping stage names and scaling Bad Boy's business footprint. Their paths mostly crossed at industry events and award shows where the smiles felt tight and the energy looked careful. There's even that 2003 Grammy moment, Diddy announcing M as the winner for Best Rap Album, where both men kept it professional on stage, but fans still sensed a chill in the subtext. It was superstar etiquette in full effect, applause on the mic, distance in the air. What's notable is Diddy consistently saluted M's talent in interviews, including a 2003 Rolling Stone convo where he placed Marshall among the best.
And the winner is Eminem, the Eminem Show. Eminem, the Eminem Show.
Even while saying Biggie and Pac were a different caliber. That's respect language from a titan, the kind of public nod that keeps the peace, at least in print. Still, behind that decorum, there were crossroads. In the early 2000s, Diddy reportedly showed interest in signing the new street phenom, 50 Cent. But the timing was messy due to beefs with Ja Rule and other street politics that made the paperwork complicated. That lane closed, and 50 ended up with Eminem and Dre, one of the biggest what-ifs in hip-hop business history.
Outside, shoes outside, everybody like, it was running, dropping.
So Suge came, he had some Mexican niggas. Now we from New York. You ain't never seen a nigga with a tattoo on his forehead. 118th Street crew. I'm like, what the fuck?
That single move changed the map. 50 went nuclear with Get Rich or Die Trying. Aftermath/Shady became an unstoppable machine, and Diddy missed out on what turned into a once-in-a-generation run. From then on, 50 became a bridge and a fault line, the shared reference that kept Diddy and Eminem's worlds orbiting each other without ever truly merging. For years after that, everything stayed mostly quiet in public. No massive blow-ups, no on-record fisticuffs between the two camps. Just that low rumble of competitive tension sitting under the surface. M kept dropping platinum and sharpening his pen. Diddy kept building brands and expanding his media footprint like a mogul on mission. But the quiet wouldn't last forever. Not in a business where old stories never stay buried and new narratives pop up overnight. The next time these names collided, it would be because the past came roaring back through a camera lens and an investigator's mic. And the fallout would be way louder than a casual name drop. In 2015, the documentary Murder Rap Inside the Biggie and Tupac Murders hit, featuring retired LAPD officer Greg Kading laying out his investigation and alleging that Diddy paid for a hit on Tupac, claims Diddy has always denied. The film also connected Keef D, to the shooters, a name that would resurface years later in headlines and court filings. 50 Cent wasted no time amplifying the doc's claims, posting and talking like he'd been saying this for years. And that megaphone effect pulled the story right back into the culture's front room. The temperature rose instantly because those are the two most sensitive names in hip-hop history, Big and Pac. And any fresh accusation restarts debates like clockwork. Eminem didn't jump in right away, but in 2018, he dropped Kill Shot.
When I knew Eminem was real, he's like, I don't give a man. This is when I knew, I'm like, damn, Eminem is a real nigga. These niggas, 50 niggas outside, what's up? And then the nigga Suge just walked away. The Mexican niggas looked kind of confused, like they didn't know what's going on.
Aimed at Machine Gun Kelly, with a bar that twisted the knife in this exact narrative.
Shook responsible for the deaths of the two greatest rappers to ever grace the face of this planet.
The day you put out a hit's the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out, followed by the classic diffuse, I'm just playing, Diddy, you know I love you. It was surgical.
Counts the day you put out a hit's the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out, they got pop kill, huh?
Push the button, then pull back, but the impact was nuclear online. Fans argued whether he went too far, and pundits parsed the bar like a legal brief. Is he joking? Is it a layered accusation? Is it just shock comedy? According to commentary at the time, Diddy was extremely unhappy with the line, a sentiment echoed on Joe Budden's podcast, where the energy suggested Puff wanted it addressed in a serious way. Diddy himself kept dodging that topic in interviews, calling certain claims nonsense and refusing to give them oxygen, which is standard crisis strategy when you deny involvement and don't want to amplify a rumor. That didn't kill the chatter, but it kept him on message. Deny, deflect, and move on.
Now let's talk some hip-hop shit, man. I want to talk to Puff right now.
Yes.
Now it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking.
All right.
Thank you.
And I said,
Around the same window, M talked about the MGK back and forth and made it extra clear he and Diddy weren't in contact. I never made a call to Diddy, he said, adding he didn't even have the man's number. That detail matters. Not friends, not peers swapping texts, not collaborators with a pipeline. Just two giants who never built a bridge. By then, it felt obvious.
I ain't never made a call to Diddy, really? Yeah. I got Diddy's number, just hit him up. Yo, Diddy, what up? Never happened.
M would always stand closer to 50. And Diddy would always stand on his own empire. And any overlap would create sparks that both sides pretended not to notice. The public truce stayed intact, but the bars and the rumors kept pressing against it like waves on a seawall. Then came a new era of turbulence, lawsuits, leaks, and surveillance clips. And suddenly the rumors weren't just whispers anymore. They were courtroom exhibits and corporate statements. And that's when Marshall went from the occasional jab to turning the heat way up on wax. In 2020, M dropped Music to Be Murdered By, tossing a quick line. They call me Diddy 'cause I banned. A light word flip that didn't spark much backlash on its own. But a different spark hit that summer. An unreleased M verse for a Conway remix leaked online, where Marshall took aim at Revolt TV with a harsh line. A bar he later apologized for, saying it was old, heat of the moment, and never meant for release. That quick apology cooled things down. Fast statement, respectful tone, issue closed, and the culture moved on. But the calm didn't last long because 2023 flipped the table. Diddy got hit with multiple civil lawsuits alleging abuse and assault, with the most high-profile claim coming from Cassie, his longtime former partner, who alleged years of mistreatment and coercion. Allegations Diddy has denied in various statements, with one case reportedly settling quickly without an admission of wrongdoing. Around the same time, Keffe D, the same figure named in old investigations, was arrested in connection with Tupac's 1996 killing after years of public interviews where he discussed the events in detail. That arrest reignited the who ordered what debate in a way no documentary ever could. Now it wasn't just chatter, it was a case in motion. Against that backdrop, Eminem released The Death of Slim Shady, and this time he swung directly into that storm of headlines and clips. On one track, he references a Diddy party with sly subterfuge, coded lines that sound like inside jokes with razor edges, and on Antichrist, he alludes to the hotel hallway footage where Diddy was seen assaulting Cassie, a video that triggered global outrage when it circulated. Marshall frames these as bars, not evidence, rhymes, not affidavits, but the effect lands like a gavel because they ride on top of headlines people already saw with their own eyes. It's that M blend of wordplay and shock commentary. He doesn't claim to be a court, but he builds verses out of public smoke and lets the audience connect dots. The escalation wasn't subtle. This was Marshall putting names in the light with zero winks, framing the culture's ugliest conversations inside cadences that stick to your ribs. Fans debated whether he was going too far or just saying what everyone else was too scared to say. And either way, the temperature in the room kept climbing. By this point, the distance between M and Diddy wasn't just a vibe. It was an iron gate locked tight with 50 posted on M's side and a trail of lawsuits and allegations piling up on the other. And now the music itself felt like a courtroom, with punchlines standing in for testimony. Then came Feud, where M fires off one of the most dissected flips of his recent run, the rapper without the P line that fans read as a coded accusation tied to SA initials and the double meaning sitting right under it. It's the kind of bar M lives for. Spelling tricks, layered references, and a sting that lingers long after the beat fades. He follows with Rip, Biggie, and Pac, saying both should still be here, then pivots to a darker side about not wanting beef because he might put a hit on me like Keffe D. Get him, which fans took as a direct wink at the old allegations swirling around. Again, these are bars and opinions inside art, not legal claims, but the punch lands because the culture already knows the rumors, the docs, and the court moves. In a remix, Marshall pushes further, tying Biggie's murder to the domino effect after Pac's killing, a theory that has lived in whispers, articles, and debates for decades. He even threads in the police say he's guilty if he steps, but he never turned himself in energy that echoes conspiracy talk fans have argued about forever, the stuff you hear at barbershops and message boards when official answers feel thin. Throughout, M takes care to keep it in the art. He's not presenting paperwork, he's building narratives out of shadows and headlines and letting listeners argue it out. That's part of why his verses stick. He writes like a courtroom dramatist with a battle rapper's cruelty, then shrugs as if to say, it's just a rhyme, right? The cumulative effect is brutal for public perception, because once a line like rapper without the P gets stuck in the culture, it's almost impossible to unhear. Wordplay becomes reputation, and reputation becomes the rumor mill's fuel. And M knows exactly how sticky those syllables can be when they're engineered to go viral. Meanwhile, the larger context keeps swirling. Civil suits, leaked footage, past documentaries, new arrests. So every lyric lands inside a noisy echo chamber. That's why this run of music felt different. It didn't create the controversy, it harvested it. Like Marshall was walking through a field of open tabs and stitching them into bars that won't leave your head. Whether you think he's pushing boundaries responsibly or firing flamethrowers in a crowded room, the reality is the same. Those lines traveled everywhere and forced the convo into places polite media usually avoids. And once the audience hears it inside a hook or a haymaker bar, it becomes part of the timeline, fair or not. At this point, it's crystal. Eminem and Diddy aren't cool and probably never will be. Not with 50 Cent firmly aligned with M and still trolling Diddy with stunts like those reported funeral flowers sent after the recent documentary Noise. Grudges stack up in this business, and these aren't the kind that fade with time. From M's side, the stance is simple. Loyalty to 50, loyalty to Dre, and zero interest in cozying up to someone he's been side-eyeing since the late 90s. From Diddy's side, the pressure is legal, reputational, and personal, with public claims he denies, old rumors he rejects, and a new generation analyzing every frame and every headline like amateur detectives. The bigger picture is how M moves, unafraid of power, unimpressed by status, and willing to say the quiet part out loud if it makes the rhyme hit harder. That's the same edge that had him walk into tension on a video set years ago, the same edge that made him carve out a lane nobody else could copy, and the same edge that still makes executives and publicists sweat when he starts spelling words on a beat. Does that mean every claim and every lyric is a fact? No. And M himself plays with that line, mixing provocation with plausible deniability so the art stays art while the culture does the arguing. But it does mean the distance between him and Diddy is now carved into songs, not just stories. And songs last longer than press releases. If there's a through line from the first jab to the latest album, it's this. M chose his camp early, stood on it, and never chased a handshake he didn't want. The industry changed names, labels, and power centers, but that choice, Aftermath over Bad Boy, Dre over Puff, 50 over the politics, never wavered. And that's why the tale feels bigger than rap beef. It's about how influence moves, how narratives harden, and how one artist can turn headlines into hooks that live forever. Whether you think he crossed lines or just pulled back the curtain, the result is the same. Eminem and Diddy sit on opposite sides of a divide that seems permanent now. Where it goes next is anyone's guess. But if history's any guide, M won't blink, Diddy won't fold, and 50 will keep stirring the pot with a grin. In this saga, silence is rare, memory is long, and every new bar can reopen old wounds like they never healed.